met you when your moms were home. Only friends with you, never stepped to you. But now it's time that I start making love to you. Time passes by for more than a lifetime. I wanna be yours, girl. I will give up my life to spend just one night with you. Cause my love don't stop. I can't lie, you bring out the best in me. I got to be yours, girl. I will give up my life. There's nothing that I won't do. Cause my love don't stop. There's a part of me that wants us to be just the way we are, so we don't mess things up. But it's
Join us on Digital Life every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Lagos, good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, welcome to your number one talk news and sports radio station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Emmanuel Onwuka, and you're welcome to Digital Life. I have to apologize. We're coming very, very late today on the show, but that was because of technical issues, and we had to make sure that our guests come correct, on the program. And well, we're going to start off because we have a very important conversation stemming from the conversation we had last week. If you're just joining us for the very first time, Digital Life is that first and foremost tech show on the radio where we talk about everything about technology, innovation, and we tell you all about the news coming out from the tech world. Today is a very important day because we have a very important guest. Like I said, stemming from our conversation last week, we had to make sure we have the guest on the show. All because we're having a conversation talking about fraudsters in Nigeria, and we've been seeing the rise of very skilled young men and women, and these people have been using their skills. Many of us are very conversant with this conversation. People we call internet fraudsters, people you otherwise know as Yahoo boys and Yahoo women, hackers, all the way, they are in that cluster. And they've been posing a very, very big challenge, especially when it comes to the law enforcement, because there's so much in the number, and persecuting these people can be quite a challenge because you have to get very hard evidence to prove that these people are committing fraud or fraudulent crimes. Some of them have been arrested, some of them have been in custody, some of them are in trial, but again, some of them are very, very, very skilled. Now, last week we spoke about the encounter with the EFCC chairman and one 17-year-old boy who hacked his laptop in his presence and even told him through his phone number, with just having his phone number, he was able to hack his VPN, he was able to hack his account, and even suggested that he move money from the EFCC's chairman's account into his own personal account just to show the EFCC chairman that, I can actually do this. It's one of those very funny moments where you're like very surprised at what one of these guys could do, knowing that many of us, like I advised last week, many of us, we throw caution to the wind and we put out our personal number on social media, we put our personal number as our business lines, and you don't know if it might fall into the hands of one of these fraudsters. I'm awaiting because we have a very important guest on the show today. We had to make sure that we have him on the show to make sure that we have this conversation. And I'm very, very expectant that with all the times that he joins us on this conversation, because it's really, really important, especially for you and I who are out there and who are not so conversant with the what will I call it now, with the skills of these persons who are out there, because internet fraudsters, they are very, very convincing. Some of us, you listening to me, you might have fallen a victim, you might have encountered it, you might have heard stories about what they've done over time, and it goes to show you exactly how skilled, these people are in the crafts that they do. And it is in the power of one agency of government to try and see how they can clamp down on this set of individuals, both the hackers, both the Yahoo boys, those people who do social engineering, whatever they might be it rests in the hands of one agency to go after them, and that agency is primarily the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Now, seeing that the EFCC chairman had a very personal encounter with one of these hackers. It raised a conversation last week and a debate here on the show, if you listened, where we were asking the question: should these people be put to use or be just incarcerated? Should they just be, persecuted, jailed, or they should be used as a tool or a means to protect our cyberspace? Because the conversation about our cyberspace is ongoing right now. I don't want to get into that other conversation that talks about the levy for cybercrimes levy. No, I don't want to get into that. Let's just concentrate on this very one, where we're talking about protecting our cyberspace and ensuring that we are protected, and those people who are mandated to protect us, get information, or if you look at the way in which from my knowledge from movies, trust me, this is me speaking now, my knowledge from movies, I see sometimes where in the movies, some of these people who have committed crime are used against their counterparts. They provide information, they are sent back to go back into that field and gather information, and then used to go for the top leaders of that organization, because usually some of the time the people are the low cost people who are like the boys are the ones who are caught. The top orgas, they're not usually on the spotlight. They usually walk behind the scene, and it poses a lot of challenges, especially for law enforcement. I'm speaking from my knowledge of movies as well. So these people are sent back in. They're meant to have deals with this law enforcement to ensure that they're able to apprehend and they're able to cut off the head of the crime syndicate, because they are a syndicate. They work with a lot of partners, both nationally and internationally. I'm trying to see how we can have the EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale join us on the program. I just had a conversation with him some minutes ago, and I'm still trying to get him on the phone line to join us in this conversation, because I told him it was very, very important that we have him speak about this. I'm still trying to get him. I'm still hoping he takes his call. I guess he was in a meeting earlier, but he assured me that he would join us from 11:30. And it's very, very important that we have this conversation with him. But a lot of you gave us a lot of reasons last week why some of these fraudsters, internet fraudsters, like you advised, we should call them, which they are, should not be, regardless of your skills, they should not be made use of. They should ensure that they are jailed for their crimes, so that it can go back that people have to pay for their crime. Because if they are taken back and used because of their skills, and the excuse of they are very skillful, I seem not to get him. Let me try another method. And see if I can get him here. I just hopefully we can get him. So a lot of you were saying, regardless of your skill, they should not be given that what's it called now, they should not be given the freedom to just go or to just join in the fight against it. They should also be jailed. There should not be an amnesty granted to them, because like you said on the show, some of you who called last week, who followed the conversation, you said they are criminals and should be treated as such, because they've put a lot of Nigerians through pains. I'm still trying to see how we can get the EFCC spokesperson to join us in the conversation. Give me a moment, Lagos. I'll stay here on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'll be back in a moment. Lagos, we're back. We have with us right now the EFCC spokesperson, Dele Oyewale. Mr. Dele, thank you so much for joining us on the program and for being able to make it.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's a very, very important conversation, regardless of the time and regardless of your busy schedule. You've been able to make it. We really appreciate your presence here on the show.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, so a lot of conversation. We had a debate last week on the program because of the encounter with the EFCC between the EFCC chairman and the 17-year-old boy who hacked his account details, hacked his BVN because of just his phone number. And it struck a lot of debate here on the program because we were asking the question, should an amnesty be granted to these persons who are very skilled, because we understand that you apprehend most of these guys and some of them can be very skilled, just like the 17-year-old boy. Should an amnesty be granted to some of these very skilled ones to utilize their skills in the... Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm hearing you now.
Yes. So utilize their skills in the fight against internet fraudsters in Nigeria. Should an amnesty be granted to the skilled ones, or you just believe they should all be jailed, as some of them already are?
Amnesty is good, but we must understand the fact that our laws are sacred. And if amnesty is to be granted any of these internet fraudsters, I think the amnesty, so to say, that the court is granting them is to give them light sentences. You know, like asking them to do one kind of community service or the other, asking them maybe to sweep the premises of the EFCC, asking them to join in the campaign against internet fraud, so that they will know that, yeah, there is a kind of payment for the offense that they have committed. Our court is a bit lenient, you know, concerning all the sentences that they are giving to them. And what the chairman actually said is that anyone that is found to be very skilled, that is very talented, innovative, that is resourceful enough, such skills can be deployed into more profitable, into more socially beneficial purpose. As in the case of that 17-year-old boy, you know, he just invited him for a chat, and the guy demonstrated very amazing skills in computer technology. And if we have some kind of people, yes, they can be encouraged, their skills can be used.
Now, I really understand your point, but then I would ask you the question many Lagosians asked here on the show last week, where they said that if a light sentence is given to these persons, how does it discourage other persons from going into fraud? Because it looks more like a reward. Like, you know, if they catch me, I just have to be good. If I'm really good, if they catch me, you know, I will get away with it. Hello, sir. Can you hear us? Oh boy, we lost that we lost that connection. I will try and see how we can get him back, because this conversation, we must have this conversation on the show. We must have this conversation on the show. It's a very dicey one, and I really want to have the conversation on the show. I'm trying to get him back, Lagos. I'm trying my best to get him back so that he can join. He can complete the statement he made and answer some of those questions you raised here on the show last week. Unfortunately, Lagos, I've not been able to get him back online. Hello? I've still not been able to get him back, but we'll just keep trying. But I think at this very moment, Lagos, you've heard from the EFCC chairman. He didn't answer one of the most important questions, EFCC spokesperson, but he didn't answer one of the most important questions because of the network coverage. Things have been, when it comes to the network, it has been, been a trying times for us Nigerians here for quite some time. So, I would just blame the network coverage for what happened here. But then and again, he said something very important, that an amnesty can be granted to those persons and even to the 17-year-old boy, just that had the encounter with the EFCC chairman. But then again, many of us raised concerns last week. And again, I am raising a concern concerning that statement because I don't know. It seems like once you're skilled, and then he said something about light sentences, that the court is lenient with these people. But then again, we know that regardless of the skills of these people, they give a bad name to Nigerians. I run a travel and culture show on the radio on Saturdays from 10:30 a.m. and I speak to many consulates, many ambassadors, concerning a visa in Nigeria. And one of the things that has given us a bad name out there is because of these human beings. It's because of this what's it called now? Internet fraudsters, because they've given the people the ideology that Nigerians cannot be trusted. So the people literally do not want us in their space. They make it very difficult for us to come into their country because they don't know the motive for us coming over. And yeah, we have it on the show, the EFCC spokesperson telling us that the court can be lenient, give light sentences, sweeping of the EFCC compound, community service to these young men who commit this crime. But then we know again that many people are spending very long time in Kirikiri and the rest prisons because they stole from a stall. Well, I don't know what to make of this, but Lagos, the phone lines are open: 0700 993 993 993 0201 465 7190. We're still trying to get the EFCC spokesperson before our time goes up. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Oh, hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I did calling from Ikorodu.
I did that. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think that they need to draw a very clear line between, encouragement and, how do I say it, punitive measures. Yeah, the idea of leniency by the court and or even the body that is directly involved in investigating these crimes. People, being inclined towards this idea, this aspect, I don't think it's really positive, or it's in favor of what should be the norm. You mentioned something now. You said you are discussing with a lot of consulates, and that's an impression. How beautiful it would be if you could give statistical backup for that. Let's assume that out of maybe 15 that you discussed with, you have a situation where almost 12 are giving that impression that they don't want to give our people visa, purely because of this reason. Does that sound good? Now, that said, I think what should be much more preferable is this. Let them spend time in jail. Let the jail system, the correction centers, let them be equipped with the right tools to keep these people busy. That's one. That's the one. As a solution mix. The second, or what should have been the first is this. If it involves people in university, then we should be very, very concerned. What's a 17-year-old doing in university with that kind of mindset? What course is he reading? What will it come out to be if he had escaped with that crime? I get my point. We have a lot of things to look at. That's one. Okay. Then then again, how is it that so many youths are preoccupied with just swindling, so on and so forth? It means that there is a particular agency in the country, apart from economic situation, that's not doing their job. The orientation agency. What are they doing about it? We cannot always wait for president to do everything. Each and every department of governance is saddled with responsibility. They should work in collision with each other. It cannot be the EFCC's work alone. Then let me go to the last, not to cut the long story short. Each parent has a responsibility to train their children to be upright. There are people in this country, we've heard it before. Someone who had the opportunity of stealing money, yet did not. He returned it back to the police. Money amounted to millions of dollars. He was not educated. He was not, a degree holder or whatever. These are the kind of things that we need to promote among ourselves. No matter the situation, we cannot afford to sink down to the level of criminals. You can see this is the impression we are giving all over the world. Until we correct those impressions from home, we're even lucky that we have some brilliant minds abroad who are, doing the country some good. But they are over there, they are not here. We need to repair ourselves over here. Let's start from home.
All right.
Create a situation in this country where we can make things work.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution. That was spot on. I like the fact that you dragged in the National Orientation Agency, because that is already a very critical structure, for changing the mindset of a lot of people, especially for the youth, and changing the mindset, especially when it comes to internet fraudster, because it's like a pandemic. That was where I was dragging the EFCC spokesperson to, because if you're saying light sentences are given to people, and this is spoiling our name out there, and this is like a pandemic. If we talk, I think last week on the show, somebody called us from a landlord called us from Asaba. And it was Asaba or Agbo, I think Agbo. He called us and told us he was about giving some internet fraudsters who had rented his property a quick notice, to get them off his properties, because he doesn't want problems. It's like a pandemic in some areas. Permit me to call some areas that are very notorious now for harboring and having large amount of internet fraudsters. Number one is our universities. Number two is Benin, Edo State. Number three is Asaba in Delta State. And now I'm here in Agbo. And there are so many other places, even Lagos here, where we have these people doing their crime and carrying out their illicit art. And then you were saying that we're putting light sentences. And these light sentences seem to be like encouraging them the more, because they just know it's going to be light sentences. The last thing they will do, just like the EFCC spokesperson said, is to sweep the EFCC office. Like, hello? Why wouldn't I go and steal 12 billion naira and then sweep the EFCC office? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Godwin. Calling you from
Sangota. Is that correct? All right. Godwin, go ahead, please.
I may not totally agree with the EFCC man there. It's light punishment. Light punishment. No. If you say you are giving some light or amnesty to these people, you are making it look as if a man is, what do they call this, terrorism. And because he knows how to shoot, we say we should incorporate him into the Nigerian army or Nigeria as we normally hear. And they become another thing. They even use that angle to perpetrate more evil on it. So if you say you want to say internet fraudster because they are too specialized, they are too brainy, and you incorporate them into one or two systems, they become worse. That is not a yardstick to measure. Once they commit, please, punishment should be meted to them. That is all. That is all. There are more fraudsters than the one we are just talking on radio like this. So from what the other caller said, to curtail these things, the government are trying, the EFCC, they are trying their best. Then the real thing should come from the whole general society, as a landlord, as a friend, you bring out information that will curtail all these excesses, and it will be drastically met down to some kind of bearable level. Not leaving these boys, they have unleashed problems on untold suffering to people. For somebody who is having millions in the bank and somebody just like to it and remove it, don't you know the owner of that account can even die with high blood pressure.
True.
Please, that thing should not be condoned in any way. Forget amnesty, forget anything. Once they are caught, they should be punished.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution there. Numbers again to call 0700 993 993 993 0201 465 7190. I will take it slowly because I want to make sure that you are able to grab it. 0700 993 993 993 0201 465 7190. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Sorry about that. We have a message here on our WhatsApp number. This is Tayo from Adra, and it says, as pronounced as Nigerian scams and fraudsters, we aren't responsible for high figures in terms of global incidents and reporting. Yeah, we aren't responsible for that, but then there are companies, there are people who take stock of this data, and we can't really context what they are saying, but we can do that. We can change the narrative. I think it's in our hands to change the narrative. That's what I think about that. As much as we are not in control of that narrative, we of course we're not responsible for the high figures in terms of global incidents. We can change the narrative from back home here, because most of the IP addresses have been traced back to Nigeria. We should note that most of the IP addresses have been traced back to Nigeria. So if we do our bit here, I believe we can stop all of that. He says further, in terms of alternate and light punishment, I think it can be adopted because the mindset of criminal requires more than a formal approach. Okay. He continues and says, I remember watching the biopic of Frank Abagnale. It's called Catch Me If You Can. A lesson or two can be learned from it. Yes, true. Frank Abagnale, I watched that biopic myself, and I saw how at a very tender age, I think he did it before he was even 18. He became a pilot. He was a medical doctor. He was a con artist. He had so many check scams. He did so many check scams, duped banks of millions of dollars. And yes, I think that they changed his personality, and they changed the way he walked, and turned him into a motivational speaker and all the likes. But the thing is this: even if that mindset or that method is to be adopted, we have to look back at the reality of things. Back then, during the time of Frank Abagnale, the reason why he stood out was because there were not more like him. Okay, he was like very prominent in that world. There were not more people doing what he is. But right now in Nigeria, we have many youths involved in this. Yes, it can be traced back to unemployment. So many of them can be traced back to unemployment. But is that enough excuse? Because you and I know that some of us, or some of the people who have been returning money, like one of the callers said, and be doing a lot of good, they have been unemployed. They are poverty-stricken. They are barely able to survive, but they've just been doing the right things. Hello, good morning.
Hello, my brother. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Calling from Ikeja.
All right. Go on, please.
My brother, I want to look at this in a different way. I want to play devil's advocate here.
All right, go ahead.
Let me separate this crime in two ways: habitual criminals and those that are due to economic problem and the system that led them into it. For habitual criminals, there's nothing you can do. It's natural. You understand?
Yeah.
Just for example, let me give you an example of the Queen's mother who pills, despite the fact that they are too rich. The money is in her number 60s. How can you change such a person? And the other side of it is the system we are operating, where our leaders are heavily corrupt. They are criminals. They are stealing people dry. They are stealing the whole country dry. They are the ones that are leading most people to most of these crimes they never planned in their life to be. Most of these people are very good people, but the system, when a child is going to school, the parents cannot pay. They can't even buy books. They look at other ones that are living large. They are forced to enter in it because they don't want to do that. That's the side I'm seeing. And for us here in part of this world, we like punitive measures so much. We'll continue to use carrot and stick approach. Look at in Holland. Look at the Scandinavians. There are no more prisons. You go to prison, it has turned to a museum. Because they relaxed most of the laws They put people to, they lecture people, teach people, national orientation should talk more, to let people know certain things. Because by the time you continue to go on punitive measure, people get toughened and they commit the crime more and more. But when you put them through, make them understand certain things by orientating them and making them, live their bad ways, they might turn a new leaf and they might be better for the nation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I like the angle from which you're coming, and it just makes a lot of sense, because you're citing very clear examples of people who have changed it, and it goes back again to the orientation of these people. What does national correctional centers, what do they do there? Do people just get jailed? Do they just stay there? What do they do during their spare time? I know some of these correctional centers have graduated lots of students. Some of them has taken what's it called now? A BSc. Some of them have done sat for JAMB, WAEC and all the likes. But then again, what more can they do? What more can the national orientation agencies do? This is Adegoke from Lekki. He sends us a message here. He said, these internet fraudsters have taken over hotels, especially in Lagos and Delta State. Some of them book for rooms for a year plus. They are at the hotel rooms. If you want to book for hotel rooms in some places, you will find out that they have been fully booked by internet fraudsters. Last message here before we go. This is Pius from Unilag, and he says, hello Emmanuel, I'm disappointed at the spokesperson of the EFCC. What does he mean by light sentences? These government officials should be very careful. I learned some skill on online marketing on clickbait. After the completion of my course, I was denied registration just because I am a Nigerian, and many other platforms like that. And here come a government official talking about light punishment. Where is this? Where is the Super Cup Abakari? They should be very careful. Well, I totally understand how you feel, and I think to an extent we are on the same boat somehow, because some of the times, like I said earlier, I connect with the people who are from outside of this country, who are foreigners, and the perspective they have about us, especially when they say you are a Nigerian. Some other people, they would give, some other nationals, they will give, they will give open arms to them, and then you're a Nigerian, and they look at you and like, okay, let me. You can tell that they're just like taking a big risk with you, and it's not very, very good. It doesn't give us this. It doesn't represent us very well. But we'll still be here on this conversation. Unfortunately, we were not able to continue the conversation with the EFCC spokesperson. But again, I hope to have him next week. I hope to have him again on the show so that he can clear some of these facts out, because a lot of questions are being unanswered. But thank you, Lagos. That's as far as we can go. The sports gang is just waiting by my side here, ready to come on for their show. So we have to go. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Again, I apologize for starting this show late. Like I said, we're just trying to get the technical in place to make sure that we have this conversation today. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. My name again is Emmanuel Onwuka. Join me again 11 a.m. next week for another episode of Digital Life. Have a lovely Sunday.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.